Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, Sigil, DOA.
Are we surprised?
Yeah, why did we even bother talking about it last week?
We killed it. You're welcome.
Wildsea Bundle of Holding, Black Powder and Brimstone, and RipCrypt Dungeon Sprint. So this it made me laugh, so I thought maybe we'd talk about it. Yeah. And it made somebody else laugh, so they picked it up, and
the cast probably needs some levity.
That's true. We'll end on a laugh.
Yeah.
So last week we talked about the official release of Hasbro's Dungeons and Dragons virtual tabletop, and I don't know why we just didn't wait, and it would have just gone away. So yeah, you just refuse to use it, and it just goes away.
Yeah.
So Project Sigil this has kind of been deduced from social media, and I don't think there's been a lot of official statements, but people are figuring out that 30, which is 90% of the staff of Project Sigil, have been laid off. And so Hasbro's messy and unfinished virtual tabletop. I think Rascal News is actually, so this has been developing, and probably it's going to develop after we even talk about this, will be more details. But Rascal News reported from an internal message sent to Wizards of the Coast employees that they're going to transition Sigil to just D&D Beyond. It's just going to be a feature of D&D Beyond. It's not going to be its own service. So they're giving up on this monetization thing. I mean, they had the opportunity to create a walled garden, do the best VTT that's ever been done, and they just completely dropped the ball.
That would require them to spend money and care about
what
they're doing.
They did spend some money. So if you think about, just 30 employees, and this has been in development for at least since 2022. So at least 3 years. That's what, almost $5 million? Well, not even including they're paying the directors and everything. That's $5 million that's just gone into the salaries of these employees, just to do something that that's going to be be thrown away.
They're going to be able to write it off as a tax.
Yeah, right. Right. So your $1 million Kickstarter for your indie RPG, they laugh at that because they can just throw away. They can throw away $5 million and not even flinch. Yeah. So most of the Sigil team will be separated from the company this week.
I love the wording.
That's nice. We'll be separated. You guys, go over there. So it really sounds like there was a lot of internal mess that just made this not possible, because with the resources they had and the ability to they could even just buy up technologies that they could then incorporate if they wanted to, kind of Microsoft style. Just anybody that was doing anything good, or anybody that was doing modules for Foundry or whatever, they just come work for us and help us develop our thing, and we'll pay you well. But that didn't happen. So after several months of alpha testing, we've concluded, this is the only statement in this message that was kind of intercepted. We've concluded our aspirations for Sigil as a larger standalone game with a distinct monetization path will not be realized, the purported message reads. And although we haven't fully realized our vision for Sigil to scale, the team should be proud of their achievements.
So proud of your achievement that we're laying you off.
Yes, right? Now fuck off. Yeah, that's lovely. You should be proud. Now, go collect your unemployment. And the real heartbreaker of this is Andy Collins was one of the people let go, and there was a LinkedIn post that kind of let people know what was going on, because I think he was a WotC game rules specialist, and I don't think he was
directly
involved in Sigil, but he's been involved in D&D forever. So originally, released last year. It was unveiled, I guess, unveiled last year in its unfinished form in the summer of 2024. Their Unreal Engine VTT was demoed. Was demoed for press and things, and the system has been rife with bugs, user accessibility issues, and it is extremely limited compared to what they've been talking about. The problem seems to be that Hasbro's upper management the whole time is not looking at this as a virtual tabletop. It's looking as we're developing an in-house video game for D&D. So there's this push and pull between the team that's actually working on it saying, no, this is a virtual tabletop. It's just a digital version of what you would do on the table with miniatures and terrain. And the management saying, no, we're making a video game. Make it more like this, do more like this, because you're using a video game engine to do it. So you could. An internal rift, and then even between the Sigil's developers and the D&D Beyond team, because there's the Beyond team developed a system, kind of a maps VTT system, which is a 2D token and kind of graph paper mapping system that you can use. And the Beyond team denied access to the data to the Sigil team, so they couldn't do any sort of, cooperation or kind of make those systems work together or anything. So obviously, having something in Washington and having something in Rhode Island is not a great way to keep people in the loop.
No, I guess not. I don't know. I gotta wonder why Hasbro kind of didn't do what you just suggested earlier, where actually I don't know what their monetary situation is or financial situation, but why didn't they just like buy someone to make this for them?
Right. Yeah, because there's a ton of.
I think the short answer is they were trying to save money, and they ended up not
probably trying to do it cheap. But the whole thing is they didn't even know what they were making. Like
that too.
It was obvious. There's a report from N-World. They went to a press event that we'll talk about, where the developers are just saying, we don't know what features we're going to add. We're going to ask the players. It's like, wait, this is a little bit late to be doing that. Isn't this like a thing? You're asking the players what they want this to be?
That similar to all those surveys they put out after 4E.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, I get it. You are making a commercial product and you have to, or you feel you have to appeal to the largest group of consumers that are going to buy a product. And that means putting out surveys to see what you want. But it also means you do not have a clear design goal of, or even like a plan. You're just like, we don't know what this is. Let's just ask everybody. It looks incredibly lazy. Just you don't know what you want. No, I take it back. What you want is to make money. And so you're going to ask, well, what do you want that would allow that? What would you like to see that we're going to pay for? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So initially, this One D&D initiative was announced back in August of 2022, and they're basically targeting things like Roll20 or Foundry, which it would not be hard for somebody with any sort of resources and developers to kick Roll20's ass, because Roll20 is garbage. It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating to use. So this was a golden opportunity before they really figured out what they were doing, or somebody really figured out how to monetize virtual tabletops and get this, rolling. It would have been easy to take over this space, and especially with the biggest brand. But as the popularity of D&D is fading, it doesn't seem like there's even any point.
Tangent. Is the popularity of D&D fading?
I would imagine now with this failure that they're not going to be able to anybody. So if all of the big live streamers or actual play, people are going to move away from D&D. Yeah, I would really think that, D&D, it's not going to, be sharing the spotlight with Pathfinder, but it's still going to probably be a majority, but I don't think it's the 80% that it, I don't think it's going to remain the 80% that it was.
I think it's still going to be popular for a while. But again, tangent. What D&D should, or Hasbro should do, is spend money to either, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain turned off. To either like sponsor or just like outright buy a popular AP. Right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, Critical Role, I guess, has moved to Daggerheart, which from what I hear, like you might not even notice a fucking difference, right? But whatever. But like Hasbro should sponsor someone and just be very, not hands off, but like don't move them to whatever Hasbro WotC channel you had, because no one fucking watches that thing, right? Just play D&D. On your channel.
Well, they've done that quite often. Like any celebrities, they have.
Those suck.
No, not celebrity. I mean celebrities in the actual play world. YouTube celebrities, like tabletop YouTuber celebrities, they hire them. They're obviously paying them, and they hire them to kind of show off stuff. Like their Gen Con D&D live show was just like they brought in names that people may recognize, and they demoed Sigil, which I didn't know that's how Americans pronounce it.
Yeah, and I think I read something on Rascal News, which I'm a supporter of, where they were just like, it sucked.
Yeah.
Like the Sigil thing sucked.
Right. And it was just, described as a lifeless, technical, glitch-filled slop presentation.
Yep. Wow. And here I thought me saying it sucked was harsh. Lifeless, technical.
Yes.
Anyway, like WotC or Hasbro could even like save money by sponsoring smaller cast, right? Like instead of paying like the big bucks for something like well-known, just like grassroots this shit. Just like, sure, we'll sponsor this channel for, I don't know what it would be, but it would be less than a big name, right? But you get enough of it and just like,
but you'd have to hire somebody to manage that knew what they were looking at, because if they're just going to look at numbers and stuff, they're going to choose wrong, and they're going to choose.
I have no faith. This report, like I have no faith that Hasbro management would actually know what they're doing. Right? So anyway, they're just going to look at how many, they're just going to look at viewership and there goes my chance to have us.
Oh my God. So close. But so based in Renton, Washington, the Wizards of the Coast headquarters. So N-World talked about the press event that they attended, and where they first demoed in early 2025, they showed off what this Sigil thing is going to be. And the conclusion that N-World had is they've created a solution for a problem that hadn't been introduced yet. So it's like, what does this solve? What does this do? And at one point, the designers noted that their plan for Sigil's development was largely dependent on what users actually wanted. And this is in early 2025. This is a few months ago. So the conflict with maps, their D&D Beyond feature didn't help. And so it kind of officially launched last month. So February 2025, there was this surprise, like very lifeless press release, and here it is. And you get access to it a little bit if you're a D&D free subscriber on D&D Beyond. But so it's just come out. They kind of just dumped it on the market, I guess, because there was some investment in there. They wanted, maybe it'll keep people subscribing to Beyond or move up to that other tier a little bit more, but they're just giving up on it. And so we first got a clue about this from Andy Collins. So Andy Collins on, I guess it was his LinkedIn. Yeah, his LinkedIn profile posted today, approximately 30 talented developers, 90% of the team were laid off from the Sigil team, including yours truly. So I guess he was part of the Sigil team. I'm disappointed that we didn't get to continue working towards a full experience we imagined, but happy for the opportunity to work on an intriguing challenge with so many smart and dedicated folks. So I feel very bad for this, guys, and we'll find out why. But he ends it with saying, "Be kind to yourself, and if you can, be kind to someone else today too." Yikes! But from his Wikipedia page, so Andy has been working with Wizards since April of 1996. So they just threw away a 30-year employee that was incredibly dedicated. In fact, there's a quote from him on the Wikipedia page that says, "I sometimes have to pinch myself when I'm walking down the hall of Wizards of the Coast." And he quoted Lou Gehrig as saying, "I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth to be working in this industry with so many great people." So that kind of employee, you definitely... He's useless. You definitely don't want a guy like that at your company. Someone that's committed, someone that enjoys the hobby and has been there. Has been there since 4th edition. What do the numbers say? Oh, the number. Oh, yeah, right. That's all we're worried about. That's all we care about, right? Yeah. So that's really sad that they're just like they just dumped him out with this Sigil misstep, like he was, like it was all his idea. But so I guess it's no more. I guess we don't even have to figure out if we're going to say Sigil or Sigil anymore, because it's a moot point.
Planescape 2E campaign. Sorry, it's the city of Sigil, not Sigil. But
Sigil. Yeah, but that was So I looked that up last week, and the American pronunciation is Sigil. The UK is Sigil. Isn't that terrible?
It's terrible.
Yes.
Like, you don't scribe a sigil.
You do. It's a sigil.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
I'm a sigilist. That's right. Oh, now I have to roll. Now we have to play Frostgrave with my Sigilist.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, nice. But it's too bad. I mean, it's
I've got the spell Exploding Sigil.
Sigil.
Sounds ridiculous. Sigil.
Yes.
Sigil.
So this whole mess. And it just you kind of suspected that something was not going well, because you didn't see.
Because it's Hasbro?
Yeah, right. But any leap forward in any of like how it's looked the same for like the past 2 years, like what they first demoed 2 years ago. Is like it's exactly the same. The functionality hasn't changed, but this was their chance to create a market for digital minis, digital terrain. And the problem is the interesting thing in that press thing that N-World attended in February, is one of the first questions people said is, well, can we play something other than D&D in it? It's like, oh, wait, yes, okay. So, yeah, that's why I'm suspecting D&D might not be as popular as...
Okay, fair. Okay. Based on that anecdotal evidence, yeah, sure, okay.
Can we play something else besides D&D?
Well, depending on how it's worded, right? Will you have the ability to play something else? Like, can we play anything else?
Anything. But anyhow, let's move on to something not D&D. Let's put all this unpleasantness behind us. Yeah, so we shouldn't have even talked about it because it would have gone away if we just ignored it. All right, but the complete Wildsea, the MythWorks game Wildsea, is available as a bundle of holding.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I backed the digital digital version of this back in the day. I haven't had a chance to play it and look through the rules. And this was back when I started to realize books are way too expensive to ship to Japan. So a $40 book is $40 shipping. So yeah.
I'm kind of reaching that point myself.
Yes. So Worldsea is a verdant setting set in the world of Verdancy, just in case it wasn't verdant enough, a dangerous and toxic place. So the blurb is 3 centuries ago, a tide of rampant growth overwhelmed the world's empires. Now chainsaw-driven ships cut across the Verdancy, a dense forest canopy of toxic iron-rooted trees. You and your fellow wind sailors, humanity's weathered descendants, and also cactoid gunslayers, centipedal fungi, silk cloth spider folk, and even stranger things explore the tangle. They hunt pinwolves, thrumming birds, and trade oil fruit and honey, and they salvage wrecks from the sink, or seek thrills in the Foxloft, spit-skill tide, spearing fens, and even down into the darkness under eaves amid the bones of the old world. So as the Wildsea hungers and grows, you will discover its depths. So so for $20, $19.95, you get basically everything they've produced. So there's not multiple levels in this bundle. It's just one single price, one single collection. It's the core rules and 2 sources and then 2 adventures. Okay. So 5 books for $19.95, which would be over, I think, all told, if you bought it, physical retail, you're looking at like $60. So you get a bit of a discount there, but it's an interesting setting. Some people have criticized the rules as a little kludgy, and you might have to change kludgy. You might have to change, or Sigil.
Pronunciation episode.
Sigil. But it's a fun setting. It's a neat idea that basically the only livable part left of the world is a forest canopy, because everything else is rotted and toxic as hell.
I don't know, just my own personal opinion. It sounds interesting. You kind of lost me with all the cactoid gunslingers, fungi.
Yeah, it's got some wacky, some wacky character types.
I think it's kind of like, to me, it sounds like the same. No, I'm thinking about Numenera, right? Where if everything is weird, nothing is. right? And that applies to like a lot of stuff. So not only Wildsea, but like if I were going to run this, I think I'd limit it to like, no, you're playing people. And that's it, right? Because the setting sounds like weird enough where like the players might have trouble grappling with like, okay, what is considered weird and what is considered normal in this setting?
Is a cactoid all that strange? Yes. Yeah, so the designer, Felix Isaac, is responsible for, basically all of the books, the adventures and the expansions. So that's, 2 full-length adventures. And there's an introductory in the core book and then the expansions themselves. And actually the book is a 368-page core rulebook, so lots of stuff there. So I'll put a link to the MythWorks Wildsea bundle of holding, and that's DRM free PDFs for life.
For life.
Yes, or the life of PDFs, or of bundle of holding. It's a neat setting, and I really I haven't looked into the rules, but there's been a little criticism of the rules. Actually, Chris. Idle Red Hens, Chris, that was the only game that he was talking about last time I saw him. He's like, I was like, Wildsea, really? Okay. That's a thing? I thought, I remember that, coming up and it being an interesting setting, but whatever space is on Reddit or whatever he crawls, that's what they were talking. All right. So here, this is exactly what you've been waiting for, right up your alley. Okay. Black Powder and Brimstone, a dark fantasy, grim, dark, your favorite, swashbuckling, and demons unleashed. So this is going to be supported by Free League, because this is, of course, powered by Morkborg. If you're not borged out, you're gonna be bored out. So this is rules light, grim dark, art heavy. So Benjamin Tobbit, his game of demons, swashbuckling, and religious schisms. So now on the Free League web store and Drive-Thru RPG. So like I said, using the Morkborg rule set, 2 conflicting churches in a decades-long war. There's gunpowder, witches, and demons. Great swords and plate armor with pistols and pirates. So this is one of the first big projects that has been published under the Free League Workshop. So kind of their supporting the
smaller people.
Smaller people to develop using one of their licensed kind of rule sets. So the official sub-label for independent creators of Free League, and so now they're officially supporting it and giving it some attention. So a blurb from their website: the Orthodox and Puritans of the Church of the Sacred Blood are stuck in a stalemate of war that has raged for decades. You are a desperate adventurer stuck in the middle of the conflict, desperately trying to survive, maybe even profit amongst the chaos and destruction.
So it sounds like you play a bastard.
You're a bastard, and the world is ending. It's all grim.
That's what Morkborg is, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can wield unique, characterful weapons with each of their own rules and advantages on top of a damage die. The arsenal includes dreaded black powder weapons, infernal devices that ignore all armor on hit and can cause such mayhem and destruction to the wielder as the intended target. So, a lot of the key features are, interesting weapons. You're a desperate character or desperate adventurer stuck in the middle of this weird conflict. You can use forbidden magic, and of course there's lots of treasure because it's also kind of piratey themed. Yes, right. And so Ben Tobbit was quoted as saying, "I'm hoping to reach an audience of people who love fantasy and adventure but want something other than Tolkien-esque Western fantasy, and I want players to let loose with ruthless adventurers in a dark and gothic world haunted by demons and patrolled by zealots. The rules are to facilitate dynamic swashbuckling combat and thrilling encounters, and I hope to create memorable stories set in this grimdark setting."
Oh, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. So you almost had enough of grimdark and Borg clones, but they just keep coming.
A bit. But okay, it's now I know how people feel when like PBTA games were getting cranked out, right?
Right.
And some of those were just like, you look at them like, you don't understand how this system or how this family of games kind of works.
Right.
So I'm not absolutely nothing against what was it, Brimstone and.
Oh yes, Brimstone and Black Powder and Brimstone.
Like the setting sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of playing like kind of swashbuckler gray characters between like these two big powers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I am getting a bit burned out on the world's ending. You're playing a bastard who wants to profit from it. I'm like, okay.
That's the world we're living in now.
Exactly. That's where we're living in now, and I'm kind of burned out on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll put a link to the drive-thru page so you can take a look at that. And so Free League is supporting the Black Powders and the
Black Powder and
Brimstone game, and Modifius is supporting another game. So this is a successful Kickstarter that made me laugh just as its approach, because everybody is trying to do something that feels a little original, feels a little fresh in this tabletop space, whether it's like very retro clone OSR kind of stuff, or it's just a totally new take on dungeon crawling. So that brings us to a RipCrypt, all one word, a dungeon sprint TTRPG.
Okay.
So it's going to launch on retail 2025 as a partnership between Grit Silk Games and Modifius Entertainment. And their tagline is "More sprint, less crawl."
I like that.
Yeah, so it just made me laugh, and the whole approach was kind of very funny in its way, and of course it leans more towards player guided and solo play.
Okay.
So a successful Kickstarter in early December of last year produced a core rulebook, a premium rulebook, and then a control board, which looks like a kind of a GM screen.
Okay.
So it's hitting retail and online stores this year. So set in Undergrade, a sprawling maze of aqueducts, catacombs, and crypts beneath ancient ruins, RipCrypt combines tactical mechanics with atmospheric storytelling. Players face hazards, traps, and creatures while scavenging for resources and seeking ancient knowledge to ascend to the Overgrade. The game aims to provide an accessible introductory to fantasy role-playing while offering enough depth to engage veteran players.
So is it like a skirmish war game?
Yeah, I think it's just that. Yeah, it seems like how there's some card game based kind of dungeon crawls where you just like you're constantly like generating threat and things that you have to roll over and avoid. It sounds like it's just like you're just plowing through a dungeon at full speed. So I'm gonna totally butcher this, but Kenan Antos, founder of Grit Silk Games, commented on his partnership with Modifius. So 2025 is the year for modern role-playing games. RipCrypt is well positioned to disrupt the landscape with its unique and streamlined approach. We partnered with Modifius to help launch into a much wider market and are incredibly excited to get this game into the hands of fans and new players internationally. It's a little corporate speak for an indie developer, but
I mean, you're partnering with a mid-tier corporation.
You got to talk. Right? You got to talk the talk.
Right? Yeah.
And Chris Birch, the co-founder of Modifius, has also shared his thoughts. I saw the Kickstarter for RipCrypt pop up and immediately noticed its appeal. As a personal fan of solo and cooperative role-playing games, I saw the possibilities for this game to realize its full potential through their Modifius program of distribution. Mm-hmm. So it's going to get it into retail. So the game is easy to learn, fun to play, continuously engaging with a lo-fi aesthetics and light rules mechanics. So, the tagline for the company itself, the designer is "We spin grit into silk." Okay. So Grit Silk. So you can play with a keeper-led or like a GM-led guidance, player-led or solo. There is you make a step by
keeper-led. Keeper-led or solo. Okay.
Keeper-led. So it's like someone that's not playing, player-led, or so kind of three modes. Okay. Step-by-step character creation in 10 minutes, 4 simple stats, minimal downtime, combat resolution in minutes, not hours. So no classes, no races, only heroes. You're rolling D8 die pools. There are smooth initiative and turns following fate, combat realism with hit locations and low hit points, ranged attacks with bows or black powder. You can learn magic, and so they have Glimcraft and auras. So a lot of crazy, kind of very unique named and functioning spells. Quick morale effects and conditions, simple and transparent advancement with glory, easy encumbrance with gear slots, 32 skills with heroic fate paths, 24 Glimcraft recipes and 3 aspects of Glim, which there's their magic system. Right, okay. 29 illustrated hostiles to populate your crypt, and a full armory of hand weapons, ranged weapons, and armor to equip your heroes.
So again, it sounds very combat heavy.
Yeah, it sounds like you're just jumping over spiked pits and slaying monsters as you're running full speed. That's like reminds me of that the game, that sci-fi game they pitched on like PlayStation 2 or whatever, just called Run Like Hell, and that's all you did is you just ran away from things trying to eat you. Yeah, Run Like Hell, the TTRPG. So 148 pages for the core rules, 74 professionally designed 2-page spreads. Quick reference, old school inspired, and they do have illustrators and credit the illustrators. So this is not all just, there is maybe some royalty free art, but there's a lot of also illustrators involved. 11 chapters of the book. It's digest size, so 6 by 8.5. Case bound hardback, and they did do a premium one, which is faux leather with, of course, green foil, and. Best of all, it was designed in Seattle, Washington, if that is important at all to you. But so it was entertaining. It was a fun kind of take on things. It doesn't seem like it's going to create a huge trend, but it's for a break or something a little different. It might be fun to just just run down the hallway, swinging a battle axe.
If that's what the point is, you're just like, you got to always got to get from point A to point B. And there's just stuff in your way. Okay.
Yep. And you just, you're collecting stuff and you're shouting your spells or whatever you're doing along the way. So it looks like fun. And this is the first game by this company. So we hope to see more. And it tickled Chris Birch of Modifius. So it may tickle you as well. And the name is just pretty funny. Yes. So, so that's going to do it for this week. So, where can people find you?
Blue Sky and Instagram. That's HiveMind, HYVEMYND, where it's all just 6mm sci-fi soldiers at the moment, or forbidden cookies, which is what the bases look like after they've been textured and painted, right?
Cookies.
They're just these round things that look like cookies.
And we've got a crowdfunder for Hard War coming up.
Oh, is that why?
This year sometime. I think this summer. So we'll be talking about that, and it falls under your 6mm limit. So we might we'll give it some coverage.
I might have to branch out into 10.
Oh no.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. Like War Games Atlantic just recently announced their 10mm grand battle scale classic fantasy game.
Wow.
Because they have their grand battle scale, which was samurai. Unappealing, right? Then they went like, okay, we're going to do War of the Roses, like English and French. I'm like, oh, okay. And then they went, by the way, here's a teaser of some orcs. And I'm like, so that like their plan is to put out like 10 factions.
Wow.
And I didn't realize they're also doing their own rule set with it. So the orc box goes on pre-sale tomorrow. So 21st. And I'm like, looking at it going,
so the Battle of 5 Armies times 2.
Yeah. Anyway, I might, but they're 10mm stuff. But it looks nice.
Good. Anyway, yeah. I like their stuff. Yeah, we should check too if they're going to release digital versions of. They've got a really nice.
War Games Atlantic does have a nice digital.
Yeah, they've got a nice digital platform. Well, very cool.
Yep. So where can people find you?
Well, you could have found me yesterday, or not Tuesday. Tuesday.
That's quite fun.
Yes, on my drawing stream, the Abuse Cartoon stream, which showed up on this channel. And I think that's the reason why we keep losing subscribers is because my cartooning pops up and people are like, "What the hell is this?" Yeah. Unsubscribe. But we are 5 subscribers away from 3,000. So those 5
more subscribers.
5 amazing people. So if you're just lurking, you're just watching, hit the subscribe button. You can unsubscribe tomorrow, but I just want to see that number tick over, just for nothing happens, nothing changes. But we should do some sort of celebration because it's been a long time in the making. But Abuse Cartoons is my cartoon stream on both YouTube and Twitch. So I draw my single panel gag cartoon, eat some Japanese snacks. It was crunky this week. There's a lot of crunky flavors. And so you can read that cartoon at GoComics, so gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And if you like what we're doing here on the weekly, you can become a weekling.
The strongest of all supporters.
That's a tier on Patreon. So patreon.com/upturned table. Tell us what you'd like to see more of, if we should have a funeral for Sigil or what we should do next week. And so just let us know. There's other tiers to support actual play or lower videos, whatever you'd like to see. And I just posted our complete adventure for Tunnels and Trolls, inside, but outside Patreon. I'm taking advantage of them storing our videos. So an ad-free 5.5-hour video of everything we did in Matt's Cave of the Boarmen original adventure for Tunnels and Trolls to celebrate their 50th birthday. And hopefully we'll see some actual release this 50th birthday.
Well, like I said, anything, and you're doing a step up on Watson.
Yeah, right. Yeah, as long as it's if you do better than Pop-Tarts, then you've won. Yeah. But Upturned Table on all social media, and we will be back not tomorrow, but the day after with Fallout RPG, and they've got a really nice bunch of modules and things for alchemy. So we'll be on alchemy with some gorgeous looking Fallout and some character creation, which should get pretty wacky. And so that's on this channel. We'll go live with that 2 days from now, and then we'll be back next week with the weekly.
Yeah.
See you then.
Didn't say it. Later, mortals. You didn't give me my cue.
It's been a nightmare. A nightmare. Goodbye.
Later, mortals. Next week.
Bye.